Good evening, Mallory.
Good evening. Oh no, we've done it again.
We've done it
no.
again. We're recording at a different time.
We gotta switch mascots and our whole aesthetic now.
We gotta redesign every art asset we've ever made for the podcast.
Oh man, this one's gonna be a lot of heavy lifting. In order to make up for all the heavy lifting, I'd like to, for the first time, make an appeal on this podcast for everyone to, hit the bell, hit the button. If this video gets to 200 likes, I'll do anything. I'll do literally anything. Do we have
It's
any
always good
goals?
to e-bag before we even have the product, before they've gotten a second into the show, to be like, listen, you may not know anything about us or have seen any of the podcast. You heard two people say good evening to each other, which is really weird. But if you want to subscribe, you go for it. We're here every week, every Friday.
First of all, the product's right here.
It's true.
This blotchy rash, believe it or not, is actually related to the topic that we're speaking about today.
Somehow, some way.
But also, I don't know. I actually just wanted to discuss the topic of hitting the bell with you. Have you ever hit the bell ever for a YouTube channel before?
No. So no, but two clarifications. I have done so for my own channel, which I don't think counts, just to see what it's like, the experience of a Tracking Shots super fan, whoever they are. And YouTube, for some reason, thinks I have done so for the streamer/YouTuber Andy Cortez. So I get Andy Cortez notifications. I've turned them off. I still get them every day. That guy's been playing a lot of Clair Obscura. Expedition 33 seems to be having a great time. For some reason, I get them.
Was it U2 that got their album automatically?
He is the U2. He is the U2 album on my phone without me asking on my iTunes.
Crazy. How much money do you think we can pay YouTube, and then they'll just force push us to every gamer and weeb across the country?
I don't think we want that smoke. I'll be honest.
That's fair. That is fair.
You can pay YouTube and run ads to promote your own channel. It's really weird. I don't know why people would do that.
I remember PragerU used to have videos. I would just be watching completely innocuous videos, and I would get an ad for Christmas is under attack, and I'd be like, "What is happening? This is insane."
Good times.
And just put their full video there. That's crazy.
That is something. I think it is a really bad look. Every time I see a YouTube channel ad on YouTube, it feels like a fake channel.
Yeah, it's not the place to advertise your product. You're misinterpreting the vibe. But
this is the TikTok edit where then cut to 5 years from now, and I'm on a YouTube ad promoting my YouTube channel because it just makes sense because there's a pay to play kind of scenario, things evolve.
Yeah.
The TikTok edit has that oh no song on it. It's it's what it is.
Get that oh no. Oh god.
Life moves fast.
I hate that. I hate that song. Is it a song or is it
I think so.
Can you listen to the 5-minute track version of oh no. Is it sped up? I could see that slowed down and being
the Nightcore version of the song. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, it sounds Nightcore. I the only name coming into my mind is Amy Winehouse, but who's Adele? Yeah, I could see that being
Don't think it's an Adele song, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be unironically asking people to hit the bell, but for now, actually, let's make a brave stunt. We're the first YouTube channel where you don't gotta hit the bell. Just subscribe. That's enough.
Hey, if you are subscribed, just don't unsubscribe. We want to be the first zero subscription channel on YouTube.
Maybe subscribe, but because the way I do it is if you go on the YouTube channels, they have a little blue dot by if they uploaded something, and if I see a blue dot in a profile picture that I'm entertained by, I'm gonna click it. I feel
you're describing alert badges. Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so I feel like people should just have that. Like, they don't gotta worry about the bell. Like, chill out, man. I feel like it's fine.
Well, there is
That's why.
the problem of YouTube won't push new videos to people. It used to, and now it won't. Like, your subscription feed isn't really your subscription feed anymore. Like, it prioritizes stuff you watch a lot, not stuff that maybe you subscribe to out of habit but then don't watch, or something maybe like a channel that doesn't put videos out that often, like or they have a video that's underperforming and so it continues to underperform. I wouldn't know what that's like. All of my videos get millions of views.
I wouldn't either, considering our Five Pirates podcast is about to hit the feeds, and it's gonna do numbers, baby. We're back-to-back successes. Our
Mallory,
two most viewed videos on the channel.
Our most successful podcast ever, the Tip to Tip Ludwig and Michael Reeves podcast, followed very quickly by what if you're the pirate, would you take the gold or would you let the pirate B take the gold? Horrible.
Oh, man. It was like intentional in my mind, thinking that it would be the most viewed video ever, was that I was gonna put the Five Pirates in, and thinking about it, like, now that it's a reality that it's happening, I'm like, now why was that my intention? Now what?
Mallory's getting numbers pilled. Mallory's been texting me about YouTube numbers all week.
Okay, here's the thing.
Going to the dark side very quickly, like rapidly. We have one video over 1,000 views. I think technically 3. And now Mallory's like, well, what if we game this out? Like, what if we like try and schedule the podcast pitches to like be the most effective? I've been doing that the whole time. But, just whatever.
Okay. My thing is not wanting to get smoke from fans of Deltarune, because that was my little thing that when talking about what we've been watching, what we've been playing, is like just the timing of the Deltarune pitch. I was worried about releasing like nobody leaves until we finish Deltarune, and then people go to the video and they're like, why didn't you finish Deltarune, because like new chapters just came out or whatever. But I'm like, we gotta like break it down chapter by chapter. There's not enough time, on the podcast. So it's like I was just getting stressed about. I just don't want to be disliked by anybody on the globe. That's my real fear. less so than like suffering in like internet mediocrity and never being viewed. That's fine. I could live with that.
This is brought to you by the gal who didn't know that I pitched Andor because the second season was coming out.
That is so funny. That you can actually make Oh No edits to that right now with the material, because I'm like I'm on camera several times and Sam saying, season 2 is coming out. Season 2 is going to be out next week. It's coming out right now or whatever. And in like the pitch episode and in the current episode, I'm just like, like nodding my head.
Yeah, I'm literally like, it's finally time to watch Andor. The second season's coming out after a 3-year gap. And then it's like,
this is
why are we talking about Star Wars this week?
It's so bad because we get to the end of the episode and I'm like, I wonder if they're going to make a season 2. I'm not sure about like this show. And you're just like, Mallory, they're releasing season 2 now.
Comes out on Tuesday. What are you talking about?
Insane. Have you been watching Andor, by the way?
I have been. I was watching it minutes before we started recording. It only has 1 week to go before it's over.
Whoa.
Because they're releasing it in 3-episode chunks for 4 weeks.
Okay. So you're like 9 of 12?
I will be 9 of 12 after we stop recording. I'm currently 7 of 12. It's a very confusing release structure.
Any sneak previews of your feelings on the great Cassian Andor?
It's good. I want to make a video on it. I won't make a video on it in time for it to be timely. Wow. So stay tuned for the 200 to 500 view video about Andor season 2 coming like a month too late.
I feel like if you started saving your videos like 10 years and you would release like Andor a retrospective, like you could really hit that like target, like people be like, oh yeah, Andor. I feel like you could maybe that's the numbers way to go.
I can tell you anytime I have done something like that, it has not materialized, but I would love it if it was the case. I want to live in the YouTube world that you believe in.
that I optimistically. Am I deluding myself? Am I thinking that I'm like actually watching higher quality videos than I actually am? That I'm like taking more time?
There's a reason people talk about stuff as it's coming out.
That's fair. Yeah,
Not
I mean,
that some people don't have that talent and don't have that marketability or just like built-in audience or what have you. I want to get to the point where I can cover whatever and people watch it. I'm not really there.
Yeah, I think I just have a lot of faith in like how deep I tend to dive on stuff. Like the thing I was gonna say about Deltarune is like in preparation for the fact that they announced these chapters 3 and 4, I've gone back to the theory mines. I've gone back to the videos. I've been finding brand new Deltarune videos, just going through the back annals and back catalogs or whatever. And I feel like based on the way that I consume internet content, I just have this like faith that like that's what everyone else is doing, is like just digging through like ancient archives or whatever, like after everything's been sorted and the dust has settled.
The thing is, though, like, take a glance at that release date for the videos you're watching. I'm sure some of them are back when episode 2 came out or a few weeks past. I'm sure some of them came out this week or last week in preparation for Deltarune coming out next month. People are very good at it. I am not, but people are on YouTube about putting things out when it is relevant to people.
So there's potentially this like uncanny valley of like Deltarune videos that release between these releases, like in a gap of time that like it was not popping off, and like those are just gonna get overlooked basically for the most potentially.
Or they stand out because they're the only video on Deltarune for like a year. It really just depends. It depends on a lot of things. A lot of things I don't understand. For instance, Vampire Diaries was off the air for a decade, and then Jenny Nicholson said, what if I like do a giant retrospective on it? Will people care? Yeah. That more says something about Jenny Nicholson than the Vampire Diaries. You can definitely break the mold, but it's harder to do so.
It makes sense. People are also probably like looking to her content to like have those kinds of retrospectives and stuff like that already. But it reminds me of like the Twilight boom, like the boom of everyone discussing Twilight, which I think we're kind of like over the major hill of, but like,
so that boom started back up, and when it started back up? When the Batman was coming out. Because everyone was talking about Robert Pattinson. You start to notice these patterns. Every day I become more like Charlie with the strings and the photos and the wall. Because I just watch channels like Dance on My Grave and just be way more successful than I am, and I'm like, how are they doing this? And the short answer is I should make videos faster than I do, and I don't. But it is what it is.
So interesting. Wow. I feel like we're rapidly living in a society where technology is just kind of all around us, and it's our cyber is kind of taking over, and and it just makes you kind of want to punk stuff up. You know what I'm saying?
So anyway, we talked about Cyberpunk this week.
Oh, David, my man, what's going on?
We talked about Cyberpunk Edgerunners, a crazy little anime made by Studio Trigger. Wow, I remember caring about Studio Trigger when I was in high school and not thinking about them a whole lot for the past few years.
What's this voice you're doing? What's going on here?
Am I doing a voice?
It sounds like you're reading a PowerPoint in front of like the classroom. Like, today we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners, produced by Studio Trigger, in collaboration
with
comedy
voice,
the video streaming service Netflix. It's like, okay, tell me about legalized weed. Let me hear about it. All right, let's go.
I feel like the moral of Cyberpunk: you should not have everything be a subscription-based service and let corporations be the government. Maybe we should guarantee housing and food to people.
I think we should privatize the medical industry more. That's my takeaway from Cyberpunk. Yes, more. If she had just paid more money, she would still be alive. What is she, stupid?
The reason why she didn't have more money is because her life was not more privatized. And if we just let industry flourish without pesky government interfering, everyone would have enough money and no one would have any more problems anymore because everyone could be a CEO.
The market will naturally sort itself out to where everyone's really happy all the time. Do you feel happy? I do.
It would be great. And the good thing about that system is the undesirables would be filtered out because they can't work hard enough and they don't have enough gumption. And they would fall through the cracks, which would be great. It's like a sieve, you want to get all of the layabouts, out of the way. So this is
those who cannot reach their bootstraps do not deserve to wear boots. How about that?
Yeah, this is our podcast where we go really hard and we go super pro the corporations. What Militech and what's the main one again?
Arasaka.
Arasaka, yeah. This is our Arasaka branded podcast. And if you wonder why I sound like I'm reading off of a teleprompter, I'm not. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You know the TikTok where it's like, hey guys, I'm going to introduce my girlfriend, and they edit it to where it's like he's holding this person hostage. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh God. No, I have not seen that. That sounds awful.
I have a video to share with you later, but it's very funny. Amazing. Where people just like, it's one of those, someone adds an edit to it and then it continues to build and build and build, and there's like a SWAT team outside their door. It's just a guy very awkwardly introducing his girlfriend who doesn't look like she wants to be in the video, and they edit like her being held hostage and like negotiators like failing to negotiate with him. It's very funny. But it's the kind of like awkward energy that I think we radiate with this podcast generally, but it's something about me being at night and you being in the morning has ramped it up a little bit today, I think.
Definitely. I think we're both a little bit more tired, and we could both use a little bit of something to take off the edge, and I think it's about time we considered chroming up.
I think we should. You know what would have saved Gloria Martinez is if she had had some metal lungs, which David gets later.
Yes. People want to get so sad about their dead anime mom, and they don't ever think about.
They don't ever consider maybe the dead anime mom made decisions that would result in the dead anime mom dying, like driving on that highway. She didn't have to drive on that highway.
She could have walked.
I don't know. It's really I don't know where this bit's going. I'm just stuck in the bit now.
I feel like we should talk about the show probably, and I know I'm. Okay.
Let's interpret the show from the perspective of right-wing commentators. What if we did that? You think that'd be a good? Do you think that'd be a good? You wanted views, right? You're now like views pilled. I think I've got a solution for you.
Yeah, we just become like the Ben Shapiro of this world.
The thumbnail just has like the crew, and it's just like Lucy's head circled and Kiwi's head circled, and it's just like women in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's like where did this crew go wrong? Awful lot of women in here.
It's Kiwi. The thumbnail is Kiwi, but it's like masks. What is this trying to say, Fauci? Like. See, now YouTube's going to flag this with, like, coronavirus warnings.
There you go.
But that's okay. It'll entice people.
I think that, like, to start things off strong, I think that Diva of the Evening for Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Diva what evening?
Diva of the Evening.
Diva of the Evening.
Our favorite
award category within the podcast.
Our favorite award that we like to bestow upon the various divas that we encounter through our adventures through fiction.
I haven't even asked you if you like the show yet, but yeah, let's go for it. What's the diva? What's the down low on the diva, Choom?
Well, oh man, I wish I had more cyberpunk verbs, adjectives at my disposal.
Which diva is preem?
The Prime Diva. The Prime Diva of the evening is not the most chromed up that you might think. And I think probably a good gauge for the Diva of the evening is like which one would Ben Shapiro complain about most. And I think people would have a bone to pick with Kiwi. So that would definitely put her up there. However, my true Diva of the evening is, of course, the character. He is
This is your
Katsuo
segment.
Tanaka.
Okay.
Katsuo Tanaka. Sorry, yeah, I just had to get
Everyone's
his
most
name.
memorable character. Who are we talking about here?
The blue-haired guy, and he just goes. And my favorite part about him is that I don't know, so I made the mistake of watching this show with like subtitles rather than watching the English dub. I have since learned that the English dub is like really good, and I probably would have enjoyed it more, honestly. Especially due to like
It's pretty good.
cultural references and like voice acting and stuff like that. Seemed like they did a pretty good job. Not to say the Japanese voice acting was like particularly bad for any reason, but it seems like they put a lot of effort into this dub. But Tanaka in the like sub or in the Japanese version or whatever, like says explicitly, I know you might think that I don't want you here because you're poor, but I'm a liberal. So I don't discriminate against that, which was pretty choice and made me fall in love with him pretty much instantly.
This is David's mean classmate who he ends up murdering his father later on.
Yes,
In a strange twist
who
of
definitely
fate.
deserved that. Yeah, but also like very interesting, fun character, very beautiful, very iconic. I love how as soon as anyone fights back to him even slightly, he's like in tears, like weeping like a wounded babe on the somebody help me.
The Draco
about,
Malfoy of the Cyberpunk Edgerunners universe.
Absolutely, yeah. No, just completely folds like immediately, and it's real good, And I think that set me up to think this is a good show. My opinions on the show overall, I feel like it's a fun little adventure. It's good. It's like the animation obviously is very flashy and wild, and that's what you can expect from Trigger, which is like, they're just having fun with it. They don't got to worry about every frame. They just got to go crazy. It's awesome.
They're like, can we ramp up the detail for this head explosion?
Yeah, it was like very gory. I would say like there definitely were, but like I don't know. As someone who's like very weak to gore, like across the board, I feel like I had a level of like tolerance for this one,
I
surprisingly.
was curious about that when I was submitting it. I know you don't like gore, and I know you don't like horror, and I was like, well, this is pretty violent. I said explosion earlier. I can't let it go. Explosion. There's a lot of body parts just going in different directions in Edgerunners for sure. It may be the edgiest thing we've watched. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think we've really watched anything that was like that violent or like gory so far for the pod, but yeah, like it's not something about it like I'm definitely wincing, but I'm not looking all the way away, which is like I look away from a lot of stuff. It does not take much for me to physically look away from the screen. So then, I don't know if it's like coloration or what. It's like images that if I really lingered on them, I would like probably be pretty sick, but like that are going by fast enough that I'm just kind of like, ooh, geez, or whatever, So I don't know, not the worst. That could be due to a shading thing. I will say, seeing that I did look away is when yours truly, Little Miss Rebecca, our queen, our angel, was brutally murdered,
flattened like a pancake.
Right
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah, that one I kind of naively was like, okay, I know they've showed every other like major character like dead on the ground, but like maybe we'll get away with this one. Like maybe
But
we'll
not
be
precious
safe.
Rebecca. No, they would never.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, Mallory, because in case you did look away, they make sure to show it 3 times in a row, because they go like,
Yeah.
bam, then next camera angle, bam, and then next camera angle, bam.
Yeah.
You can see the
who is that
precise moment
for?
where their heart breaks right here.
Is that for the freaks? Is that what we're getting at? It's like
I think it's just. I think it's because it happens so fast that it's like we want to make sure that you're aware this character is dead because like a lot's going on. They're already playing the like wrap up song, and they're about to kill David, and so it's like, well, Rebecca died, but people might not realize that, so we'll just show it 3 times.
Do you think she thought she was safe? Do you think because like when there's like 3 major characters that die like early to mid season, I kind of got this thing of like, oh, this is like it's Rogue One all over again. Like this is all the characters die situation, and I'm like looking at the poster and figuring out like, okay, we got this many characters, this many Fs left to go. Let's see who dies next. Do you think she heard the ending song playing and she's like, the curtains are like coming?
I've made it.
I've done it. Do you think she finally? I don't even want to joke about that. That's actually sad.
In real talk, like she has the moment where David is completely like losing it and is talking to his dead mother, and they're driving towards like the gates of hell, like they're going straight to the center of the city, and she just kind of goes like, "Okay, like I guess we're doing this. I guess we're gonna die here."
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the realest moment where it's like, I mean, I could abandon my friend here, but like, what am I really living for anyway? It's not how you live in Night City. It's how you die.
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely it is not a optimistic tale of our abilities to do anything about the capitalist hellscape we may find ourselves in.
Oh, you didn't see the alternate ending where David like runs for president of Night City and they like do some reform and
yeah,
people aren't handed their mother's ashes in like a urn with a barcode on it.
Brutal. I like in terms of my like favorite scenes of the show. Honestly, I think that like I can't remember if it's the first or second episode, but like the whole sequence of like him getting his mother's ashes and then like. Every time, I think I was talking to you about this, but like I love like that he breaks into like his mom's him and his mom's apartment even after like rent is overdue, and it's just such a like powerful and stark image of like he's able to consistently like spend the night there every night, and they just like put like more and more like now there's metal covering the door and just like kind of like pestering messages, but it's like this apartment is just sitting empty if he's not in there, and there's just so many people out in the streets, and you're like, Jesus, like this is such a evilly run society. Like it's very I think those sort of like images are so like brutal in their depiction.
Well, it takes something you're familiar with that's already awful, right? Like the eviction notice taped to your door. But what if like the eviction notice could literally make it so you can't open your door because of technology? It's like, what if we just make it like 10% worse and add like some chrome and neon to it, and then you have Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and then like tomorrow's tech bro CEOs are like watching it being like, oh, that's a good idea. That would actually like get people out of their houses, that's
let me tell you, I know that people like to be like, we're living in a dystopian already, da 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 da. One of the most horrifying news stories I've seen lately, there was a court case where the court or the lawyer for a guy who died, I think in a traffic accident, but don't quote me on that, they used AI to recreate the guy so that he could give his last will and testament to then sway a jury and a judge. And that is like the worst, most dystopian. I don't even know what I'm like smiling right now because it's just so ridiculous, but I can't even fathom like how horrifying that is. It's a complete misunderstanding of how that technology works. It's a complete failure of the justice system to not throw that out as like nonsense. B, and then C, it's just fucking creepy. And maybe we're not too far away from Night City after all. But I hate when people say that about this kind of stuff. But like, you look into the abyss, and sometimes the abyss like stares back at you.
Yeah, like it truly is like, I don't know, like the more like these kind of claws clutch around like the more like articles I read about like subscriptions for like printers and toasters and stuff, like the more I'm just like, I don't know. We are very much hurtling in this direction, and there's a certain kind of attitude to design and like creating things of like how we're like squeeze it, like, you know, how do I just get my way, like morality be damned, and like this like cool factor, this little sheen and shine of paint or whatever. Like
we don't even give it the sheen and shine. We just get like a streaming service called like Floor Blow, and it's like, well, I gotta pay for Floor Blow because that's what The Bear season 4 is gonna be on, and it's like, all right, well,
yeah. I'm saying that like I mean, I feel like that is definitely a trademark of our real world, is that like it doesn't even look that cool. Like our,
well, okay, now but Cyberpunk like, does though. Cyberpunk at least it's like, oh, this is pretty
exactly
cool looking. Can I at least get the like mantis blade arms like shooting out of my I don't know, forearm before I get nickel and dimed into the grave? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I want the lungs that make me run faster. I'm going to keep coming back to that because, like, damn, that would be really useful in my personal life. I run a lot, and it's like, it's really hard to breathe when it's hot.
I feel like there's like the sheen and shine is almost like conceptual sometimes for people though. Because, like, I can just imagine that court case and people involved in it being like, whoa, this would be really awesome. Like, this would be new and, like, the first time this happened. And, like, that kind of, like, attitude being, like, all the, like, the little bit of sugar that people are somehow that's enough for them to, like, swallow this poison,
ignore
I guess. Like,
the, like, facts of the case of, like, this is not the real person talking to you and this can be easily manipulated. Right. I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that judge is an old person who doesn't really understand how AI works. I can't verify that right now, but I know it in my heart, you know?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough when people who make decisions make them badly.
Real life sucks, and Cyberpunk also
but let's go to
sucks
Cyberpunk, which is not, it's escapist like fantasy, right? No.
Yeah. Which this is like a point that I was curious about. So like there's the like in my head I always refer to it as like the like Lindsay Ellis like Schindler's List argument. I'm sure that there's like a better media theory name for it and that she didn't invent it, but in my mind she did. But like the like argument that like Schindler's List, a movie that I have not seen, but I'm just kind of taking what she said about it, is like a, you know, criticism of the Nazi regime while also like showing the Nazis be very cool and scary. And because of that, even though it is like a very harsh critique of them for people who are watching and paying attention, a lot of that imagery is very popular among like Nazis, as opposed to the Springtime for Hitler is the example that she uses, which is just kind of like mocking him and making him seem happy and foppish or whatever. And like that's like what actually does it. I'm curious what your feelings are about the idea of like Cyberpunk being like, even though it is obviously very critical because all of the characters die in the end and don't get what they want.
If your takeaway from watching Cyberpunk is like, damn, I really want to live in Night City, maybe rethink your thinking a little bit. Maybe try and think a little more critically about what a piece of media, a piece of art is trying to tell you.
Yes.
I
definitely agree with that. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
I don't think we should limit art because of what the dumbest interpretation of it might be. But I do think there's two ways of going about this, where there's the artist who says like, I'm not going to like say anything one way or the other. Like I refuse to like engage period on this, draw your own conclusions. And that's like final. And there's the artist who goes, what are you, a fucking idiot? You're not supposed to want to live in Night City. I definitely like option 2. I don't think either creator should limit their art on the off chance that someone turns it into like a far right symbol or something. The example I think of a lot is like David Fincher makes Fight Club. Fight Club, not really saying that Tyler Durden's a good dude. You know, he's turning people's fat into soap, and he's like causing multiple people to enter into like a weird death cult. But the satire is harder to read if you're 12. Like when I watched the movie, and I was like, man, having a fight club seems kind of fun. But also like the 24-year-olds who were watching that movie when it came out probably should have thought a little bit harder about it and not been like turning Tyler Durden into like a symbol of like men's rights or something.
Yeah.
I don't think David Fincher is really at fault for that. He made a good movie, and it's supposed to be, the art of that movie is like, this idea is supposed to be enticing but then also destructive. It's like holding a candle for too long. It's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with like eating healthy and working out, but when you start turning, or even having like a lot of negative opinions about how capitalism works, for instance, but when you turn it into like this weird cult worshipping, I don't know, violent extremist group, it kind of becomes, the message gets a little muddled. I don't think that's David Fincher's fault.
Yeah, no, definitely not placing fault at like the artists who are like creating something that's like so obviously like a critique when like analyzed like on its terms and like paying attention to it. But yeah,
Right.
like there is just always the unfortunate risk of like people taking it and running it with like, you know, just the aesthetics or something like that, which I don't know. I feel like one thing I felt when I was watching Cyberpunk was like, I feel like I've strayed so far away from like being the target audience of it. Like it very much felt like Straight Boy World, which is like not like, okay, like straight people deserve something.
Elaborate.
Surely they're
All right,
allowed
let's
to
hear it.
have their fiction, but there's not. I got really excited at the character Dorio because I was just like, oh, they have like a butch lesbian in the crew, cool. But she's not that, you know, and that's fine. She's allowed that too, you know, like butch women should be allowed to also be straight. But like, I just wanted just more gay people, and there weren't any.
You don't think
there was
that
one,
like Dorio
Yeah.
and Manny, is that his name? Maine?
Maine.
You don't think that Dorio and Maine are like inviting a third into that at any point? Really? You don't
That
think
was
so?
my theory. When Kiwi walked in, like, fully naked, I was like, I feel like these are, like, the, like, poly-anarchists or whatever. And I would have even preferred that, like, even if everyone's straight. It's like they're all just kind of, like, doing whatever. But, like...
Well, no, Mallory, you
by
don't
the end of
understand.
it,
You have to be naked to
yeah.
do the hacking, and you have to be a hot woman. All right?
Yeah.
You've strayed too far away. Let's get back to the straight male gaze corner.
Yeah.
Gaze, not gay. All right? How about that?
This is the new... I have Diva
It's
of
my
the
new
evening.
bit.
You have the
I like
straight
I'm wearing
male
red.
gaze
That was
corner.
completely unintentional. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's weird there's not like a...
Yeah.
I would say Cyberpunk, the extended media universe, touches on that idea a lot more about sexuality and what have you. The big other piece of Cyberpunk media people are most likely to know about, the game. You know, there's gay relationships you can have. There's straight relationships you can have. They're pretty loose in terms of like what you can do with identity and the character creator and everything else. It's not perfect. Kind of no video game is perfect when it comes to that. But this is very much the anime teenage boy starts dating above his pay grade, and then the hot anime lady is like, yeah, but he's really interesting. You know, he's got a lot to say about growing up poor in Night City. It's like, okay.
Have you heard him talk about his opinions on Fight Club? No, I think like he actually... that is like one thing I will give this series, and that's why I'm like, you know, the straight people are allowed to, you know, they like, just because we're like,
you like
oh,
Lucy
all
and
media
David? Is that what you're
straight.
getting at?
Yeah, like, you know, even though it's like the straight people have been eating well for too long or whatever, it's like they deserve their hors d'oeuvres. They deserve their little snacks or whatever along the way. Like,
Just a
I
little
think
treat,
that-
you know, just
Yeah.
one, maybe two naked hackers, you know, just for fun.
Can we get two? Can we ask for two?
I'm not asking for that much, all right, you know. Now get in this ice bath
know,
and break the ice.
I
Pierce
think that
the
like
ice.
their
That's what it is.
relationship overall like works pretty well, and I think that like I really liked like when we talk about relationships not falling into like annoying tropes, like she lies to him like pretty early on and like deceives him into like, you know, like does the thing where the girl kind of like seduces them into like intimacy, even in like it's a sense
She
where
femme fatales him a little bit. Yeah, no, it's like
Yeah,
their first
it's
date,
emotional.
quote unquote, is under false pretenses. But is it? You know, they kind of
Yes.
play with that idea.
Yeah, and it's like it's really fun because it's like it's emotional, like it's not just like a physical thing or whatever, and then he feels obviously betrayed and hurt by that. And then like after that, like as he's getting closer with the crew, like he kind of feels standoffish from her, and like he has the conversations with like his father figure Maine of like, oh, I don't think she's like interested or whatever. So he doesn't like persistently pursue her, and he also doesn't like get so hurt about like this, you know, betrayal of trust that he just like completely writes her off. Like he is kind of thinking like, you know, something in that felt real, and I can sympathize with her motivations or whatever. Like he's not just so, I guess, fragile, which like I don't know, I wouldn't even necessarily blame someone for being like that, but I also
His
feel like
feelings
that
are
wouldn't
valid of feeling like,
yeah,
do I even really know this person? But also he's mature
Yeah.
enough, which is, you know, pretty good for an anime protagonist, an anime boy
Mm.
protagonist. He's got enough emotional maturity to be like, well, there is maybe something there beyond the initial con, and this person was kind of in a position where they felt they had to do this, working on Maine's crew, right, and being in this world that is pretty far from like black and white in terms of morals.
Yeah, and I think he can understand and like cut her some slack because like that is the reality that he's facing every day. Like he's having to steal and lie and do all these things and like compromise his own morality just to like get by and survive, you know. So I think that like he could have reacted hurt and I would have like understood, but it wouldn't have been like fertile grounds for a like relationship.
I'm glad we
I
didn't
feel
spend
like, and
half the
it's-
season on it. If that like
Yeah.
it's not even that it's not realistic or valid or what have you. It's just that it's like I've seen that plot a
Yeah.
lot. It gets a little old.
Yeah, and it's tiring that like it feels like the woman in that situation always has to then like prove themselves, and like the guy doesn't have to like move at all from like his perspective. So when they do finally kiss, it feels satisfying. It feels like a meeting in the middle. Like they've both had to like work to like get to that point, and yeah,
And
I don't know.
come on, you got a
I was
rocket
down.
taking off in the background. Like, how are you not going to get a couple points for that?
Yeah,
it's really
no,
romantic.
it was
Love can
nice.
bloom on the battlefield, you know. It's just,
Yeah, so I'm not here to be like a straight hater all day. But
just
I would
most of
I
the
would have
day.
liked some, you know, there was a nice little supporting cast there, and like everyone is like firmly in like straight camp except for like Kiwi, I guess, is maybe the only character that's not shown having any relationship. She just like Rei Ayanami's her way around, like just like walks around naked, like I don't understand that kind of vibes, but yeah, I mean,
There's the Kiwi. There's a bit about Kiwi I really like, which is that Rebecca constantly calls her old, and I have no idea how old she is because we're in a cyberpunk future where you can modify your body, and I'm like, is she older? Is she like
yeah,
10 years older than them? Is she like 30 years older than them? Like, how does that work? I don't know. When your body's mostly metal, does it really matter? Like, when
I
half
was
your
actually
face is
Googling
ripped
this.
off, it's like, well, I don't know.
it's so. From what I was able to uncover, it seems like there are just like two cohorts of characters, and like some of them are all around 30, and the others are all around 20.
Right.
David himself,
Yeah, like Rebecca, David, Lucy, and
Yeah.
Pillar, Rebecca's brother,
yeah,
are like the younger members of the crew, and then like Maine and Dorio and Kiwi are all older, and the driver, whose name I can't remember, but he's so cool looking.
Falco.
Falco. I love Falco. He's in like 4 scenes.
Yeah, I feel like it's I don't know, it's an interesting like split. Like I don't know, I would have imagined them as like a lot old. I'm almost 30, and I don't think I'm like main at all yet. So I feel like
I'm working
in my
on
mind
it.
that kind of
I'm
character's
bulking up.
older. Yeah, I'm becoming more and more like emaciated so that I can achieve that like Kiwi bod by the time I'm 30.
I'm getting the arm cannons installed any day now, the second arm cannons, arm cannon, arm cannon, arm cannon, arm cannon.
Oh, there he
No,
goes.
not at all. No, not even close.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I envision them like older. I always like when like shows aren't afraid to make their characters older, but you could also probably see that as a commentary of like, even if you're doing your best, you're not going to make it much further than 30 out on these streets or whatever. Like, I could see that.
The piece of media, the movie, this reminds me of the most is Boys in the Hood. Have you ever seen Boys in the Hood?
I have not seen Boys in the Hood. I've heard of it.
It has the same kind of energy of like, we're all around the same age, but I'm like 4 years older than you, and 4 years living in Compton, in the case of Boys in the Hood, is a lifetime. And 5-10 years in Night City might as well be a lifetime, especially operating as an edge runner. It's like,
I see.
Wisdom comes fast and death comes even faster. It's like kind of the vibe I get. It's like Maine feels like he's been in the business for 40 years, but he's like, what, 35 maybe?
Right. Yeah. That's definitely a point. Yeah, no, I feel like that's very much the vibe of this world. And like David, like I did not even realize like this show goes through the arc of him being like 17 to 18, I'm pretty sure. Like I think he's 18 post time
Something
skip.
around there, yeah. I know he
Like,
starts at 17.
Yeah, like that is his whole arc and everything happening and like finishing up with him like being the leader of this gang at 18 is like insane. But then just like that feels like what the world is, it's like you got to get with the program fast or you like die on the first tripwire. Like that one, like my favorite character, the one amazing
Julio,
like, new recruit.
Dude,
God,
Julio's my boy.
That was a good guy. Yeah, no, it's like you gotta be wise to the streets like pretty quickly.
Well, it's funny you bring that up to me because
out.
like the Julio versus David versus like Maine, it feels like the half-life of like a Cyberpunk is like shortening rapidly in the show. It's like Maine is able to operate for, a decade, or we assume David can only operate for a year before he burns out.
Yeah.
Julio is dying on the first gig. It's like it's just getting more and more violent progressively as it goes on, and like the missions they're taking are like even more dangerous. The technology they're up against is even more advanced. The like local gangs are getting crazier and more violent, and it spills over to the normal people in Cyberpunk or in Night City as well. Like that's what ultimately is what kills Gloria to begin with. And even the character who's like trying to be on the straight and narrow is a little dirty in terms of like legality. Like she's selling black market pieces to Maine and company to try and give David that better life.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of like the kids are not gonna be all right. Like there's not a lot of, it's not an optimistic show. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Like it's an interesting show to have. Like I think in terms of like when I put my own opinions about the world or whatever, like I think as a participant in the real world, I have to have some sort of optimism, even if it's not possible, because it's going to like make me move in the best possible direction. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's, I like, because like I want to say like we got to band together as community. We got to build alternative ways out of this or whatever. Like we got to like, we got
to work together and rely on our better angels, and yeah, but it's like this show is definitely not like painting an image where that's possible. Like it's just like, what is it? It's not how you live, it's how you die. It's just like, go on in an all like a blaze of glory, like, which I also kind of doubt is what the creator would want people to do in real life. But like, no, but I think the creator Mike Paulson, something like that.
Pond Smith.
Pondsmith. That's right. I keep forgetting.
I remember
this.
his name so clearly because I thought it was weird.
It's a
every
really
time I
cool
saw
name,
it.
Mike Pondsmith.
Yeah, it's a sick name.
I think he would say it's a cautionary tale, right? Like, no, you shouldn't like rely on or believe in like nihilism, but the world will become more and more nihilistic if you allow corporations, technology, etc. to run rampant.
I see. Yeah, so it's
Rampant
less of a like
consumerism, capitalism.
recommendation and more like this is what people are increasingly going to be driven to like
Right.
under this kind of system. Yeah, that
If
makes
we
sense.
like throw away all of our values in pursuit of the almighty credit or Eddie, or we
Eddie's.
just like make more and more technology without thinking about the consequences. That sounds pretty relevant right about now.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like I think that like that interpretation definitely and like also like it does definitely show like a very positive view of like community and like David like having his whole found family. Like he honestly
Well, yeah, those
like,
relationships are beautiful, right? And there's like the humanity shines through even as David becomes this like metal monstrosity over the course of the show.
Yeah, like it's I don't think that he should have run away from his mother or that was a bad relationship, but like there was also like a little bit more of a vibe. Like I think he probably felt a lot more understood and accepted like among that like found family, and it's like you get that like it takes a village vibe. Like I think if he'd had all of them in his life would have been like the best outcome, and it would also have been great if no one died, but that obviously was not something he had the luxury of. But like yeah, like I think that the like ways that they're able to like overcome their differences, shortcomings, like stuff like Rebecca like just kind of accepting like, okay, this guy is never going to be interested in me or whatever. Like
I'm going to have to play second fiddle and even die playing second fiddle.
Yeah, like her acceptance of dying playing second fiddle is just like I feel like an acceptance of like the people around her and like her community like over like, you know, pursuing her own like selfish ideals or whatever, like, you know, like there's no room for her to be like, fine, I guess I'm gonna find another crew. And like David's final moments, it's like, no, this is my family, like this is how we're gonna go down. Like, yeah.
She has a great line when they're when he's going to meet the fixer and he's like leaving the like bar area they hang out at. It's like, what does she say? I'm not used to playing lonely or something. She's got a great line. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, I think she was talking about like I think she's talking to Kiwi and they're talking about, she's like,
he's walking away and her and Kiwi are next to each other and she's like yelling after him like, I can't remember what it is.
No, she's talking about like trying to change her approach and like I think maybe
this is right before. This is the same scene, but right before it, she yells something at David as he's leaving.
Yeah, I'm remembering. She says, I remember she used the word inkyara, which is like meaning it literally means introverted character, I guess. Like you're like shy and you don't necessarily like put what you want out there and you're like distant and aloof, like basically describing what
Lucy's like. She makes the joke in like, that, or the comment, she's like, I could be like boring and moody or whatever instead of who I am.
Yeah,
as like as the change of approach advice from Kiwi. It's like, well, yeah, I guess I could try this, and then it cuts to Lucy.
Yeah. No, but she doesn't, and the fans love her for it. You know, we all know she's easily one of the best characters. Like, I don't know, it's a beautiful show. I want you to inform me about the game a little bit, because who's Adam Smasher?
Yeah, Adam Smasher kind of comes out of nowhere if you're not really up to date, I imagine. He kind of comes out of nowhere in the game as well, but he's a cyborg. He's essentially like a high functioning psychopath or a cyber psycho. I think the big deal with him is that he has he's gone full Borg. A lot of great terminology in this world, where he has essentially taken the David or main approach to its logical conclusion of let me replace every bit of my body with cybernetics. and normally that makes you crazy. And yeah, he's crazy, but he's also like very violent and powerful because of it. And he is employed by Arasaka, one of the two major megacorps in Night City, and they call him in as a solution to all problems. He is essentially like a semi-truck. You can try and like hold it back in the road, but it's not going to work out for you, you know?
Yeah, see, it was very interesting because, like, I think throughout the series, I would kind of have thoughts like, okay, is Katsuo like his schoolyard rival? Is he gonna be like missing the entire series and then
She's
come
back
back
to
and he's,
Katsuo
like,
again.
super chromed up? But like I literally thought that, or I was like, is his dad gonna be the final boss? Because his dad, like throughout the early episodes, is like the one who's kind of like harassing him with the fake nice like we're offering you a scholarship all of a sudden, David.
Right, or the BD artist who they brain dance. By
Yeah.
the way, I don't think they really explain what brain dancing is in the show, but
Yeah, what is-
I'll get into that in
Oh.
a second. But like that guy
Yeah,
set
yeah,
up from
yeah.
episode 1, so you would think that he would be. There's a lot of characters that are set up more than Adam Smasher, but Adam Smasher is. It's almost not right to think of him as a character. He's more like an environmental hazard. Like he's the symbol of like corporate power more than he is like a dude with thoughts and feelings. Although the little bit he gets in this is great, where he kind of like considers David like a worthy opponent, or at least somewhat worthy. I think the line he has, like one of his like 3 lines in the show, is like, "Okay, that was actually pretty fun," as he's like about to shoot David in the head.
Yeah, I feel like it makes sense that the antagonist was this like the strongest guy ever and the representing of society, like that fits more thematically than I think like any of the others would have fit as villains.
It would be really strange,
yeah,
just based on like how Cyberpunk is set up and how Adam Smasher is set up in the game or lore or show. If David even put up like 10% more of a fight, it'd be like, all right, we're missing the mark here. The point is that you cannot beat the system. There is no ending to this where like, and Arasaka was defeated, and David became mayor of Night City, and everything, and we all went to the moon together. Like, you can't win. This world's already too far gone. Like, there is no reform. There is no escape. Do the best with what you got. You know, the game itself has a lot to do with it's almost like a big cancer metaphor. Like your character in the game has, not to get too into the weeds of the details, essentially has a virus and is dying from pretty much minute 1 of the game, like from the end of the first major story arc. And that energy continues throughout the entire game of like, I got weeks to live. What am I going to do with them?
Yeah, no, it's definitely like I think it makes a lot of sense as like an antagonist. I think I was kind of wishing as a non-game knower for like there's like the scene where like he's like Adam Smasher, who's Adam Smasher, and the guy explains it to him. It's like you already did that. I feel like you really could have dropped it, like because it's kind of ham-fisted. It's like if you're gonna be ham-fisted, like do it early, like have him look at like see Adam Smasher doing something, or like there's like the crazy guy at the beginning, right, who I think is a guy who goes
The
crazy
Ripper
at the
Doc?
beginning.
That dude.
No.
Yeah, the guy. He's the guy who has the Sandevison, the Sandy, the slow down time spine. That is just a bog standard cyber psycho. I think they imply that dude was set up by the Braindance guy to essentially like go out and get murdered by the police, and that guy could record it and then sell it to fetishistic weirdos. Braindancing in Cyberpunk is essentially like you have a very intense VR experience of someone else's life, and then weirdos want to do that. Like the normal application of this would be like, I want to be in the brain of a porn star, or like be in the brain of like a star athlete or something. Both in game and show, they explore like the really dark version of it, which is like, I want to know how it feels to die and get shot in the head. And it seems like that dude was maybe set up by the Braindance maestro that they interact with through the middle of the season to go crazy and get murdered, basically.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I feel like if Adam Smasher killed that guy at the end, then I would have been like a lot more on board with him. But because it was just
Right.
like,
That
and then
dude's
Adam
killed by
Smasher
Max
shows up.
Tech, which is a whole nother
Yeah.
thing.
But I also understand from the perspective of an actual fan of the series. Like if I was watching like, it's like when I watched Detective Pikachu and Mewtwo came out at the end.
Right.
I'm like, yeah,
you
it's
know
Mewtwo,
inherently
but,
like, oh, that's a big deal. Mewtwo's really powerful.
yeah, but
Or like
I'd
Darth
have to
Vader in
rewatch-
Rogue One, right? You mentioned Rogue One earlier. You don't
yeah.
need Rogue One would be a better movie if they didn't have like 3 other Darth Vader scenes. Like Darth Vader shows up at the end. He doesn't really have a character or arc in that movie. He is the embodiment of Imperial might, and it works because he just
Yeah.
you see him and you go, "Oh fuck," and then that's all you need. Adam Smasher is that for Cyberpunk, but it is considering how important he is at the very end of the show. I could see it being a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just I feel like I'm just saying that because they have the scene where he's like, oh, Adam Smasher or whatever. I'm
Right.
like, I feel like you could have woven this in a little earlier, but I do also understand the like zero explanation of like our most like iconic character or whatever like is probably better.
I think
than,
a more normal story would have had it be Faraday, like Faraday be the final boss,
Yeah.
and he is the orchestrator of all the bad things that are happening at the end of the show. I like that Faraday, while seeming to be the villain of the show, and is the villain of the show, I mean, he is an antagonist for sure. I like that he is just like a speck of dirt on these like Arasaka people's like boots. Like his entire plan is like, I want corporate immunity. I want to rise in the ranks of the Arasaka corporation. And the person he's working for is like, this is dumb. The person that dude is working for, she is like, all right, you're gonna, take the heat for this when it goes wrong, but like you and I are kind of absolved of consequences. But Faraday, who to the people at the bottom, to like the Edgerunners, is like this master fixer. He's nothing. He's like a log line on a spreadsheet that then gets deleted so that they don't get in trouble with their bosses. Like
He has the most chump lines as well. Like he's such a loser when he comes in
hard at the end.
He's like, I'm gonna have a seat at the table. Huh. Me and you, employees of the same company. I'm not on the streets anymore.
Wait, like one of the last things he does, I like that his death, you don't even really see it. He's just like blown off the building, and there's like one quick cutaway to like, oh yeah, he's dead, and there's his eye popping.
Yeah.
But like, he yells at Adam Smasher. He's like, Adam Smasher, save me! And the guy's like, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck are you? And it's like, he's so unimportant. But that itself is very on brand for like what they're trying to do with the story. I feel like of like, it's dog eat dog world, but then also there's like the dog catchers are a rung above that, and the dog catchers tax man is a rung above that. Like there's so many levels to it of like, you're just not, you're pretty insignificant at the end of the day. The fact that Adam Smasher's called in at all is just like, okay, you kind of you're punching above your weight there, David.
Yeah.
Not for long, but you can't even stand with all the chrome you've got without these grav generators. That's a good little bit.
It's the guy getting hit and being like, I actually felt that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like...
all of that for a speck of
Definitely
blood
not
or whatever. Isn't that Thanos? Is that Thanos? Am I quoting Marvel right now? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, what is it? All
My
of
Marvel
that
posting?
For a single...
Speck of
get
bit of grape
me.
juice. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's my turn. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, real quick, I explained what braindancing is. The only reason I brought it up was because that plot detail and Adam Smasher are the moments where I think non-game players would be the most confused, because those are two things that are covered very heavily in Cyberpunk 2077. But I think for the most part, the show does a good job of just like kind of throwing you in the world and it not feeling like it's consistent enough that you can kind of get a feel for it, even if you don't know all the details.
Yeah, I think the braindancing thing was like honestly explained. I was not really confused. Like I feel like they do a good job of like, I mean, like the fact that David is like someone who is consuming that kind of content or whatever, like means you're on ramped onto it pretty early, and I think the like equivalence with like porn or whatever like makes it pretty easy to understand like
Yeah, it's like he's
kinda
selling
what
like
people are
bootleg
getting out of it.
DVDs. Like it just like fits with like
Yeah.
his scrappy kind of character nature.
Yeah, and then when they start bringing up like fetishes or whatever, or like the real freaks and taking off the pain limiters, it's like, oh, okay, like it pretty quickly you're dropped into the vibe of like understanding. Okay, like this is like people hypothetically, if this existed, would probably be really into it. So yeah, that I feel like that one was like explained pretty well.
What's the
But yeah.
natural conclusion of like VR? It's like I want to know what it's like to die. It's like, oh, okay, that's a little edgy.
Yeah.
Probably true. Probably something that someone somewhere is trying to work out right now. But it is just it's a lot of logical
just, like,
conclusions they're coming to with this show of like where's the
feverishly-
worst scenario for what people would do with this technology?
Just like sweating feverishly, like coding, like I want to know what
I
it's
have
like
to
to
know.
die before I have to know.
There are folks who get like addicted to it that are brought up in the game, and I think a lot of times they just die. Like they just like have a stroke.
Yeah, man. But yeah, talking about the game real quick, I'm like I feel like the big elephant in the room for me was like the only knowledge of Cyberpunk 2077 I had at all about before,
I know what you're
because
gonna say.
It's just not something I was interested in. Yeah, it's Trans Hour, everybody. You thought you got to by with a little slap on the wrist of me being like, "There's no gay characters." Listen, there was the whole controversy of this like lady with a penis. Whoa, in a
Scandalous.
like advertisement in the game in a in-game advertisement, like a fake advertisement, but appeared in the game trailer that caused a lot of articles and medium pieces and write-ups on Polygon about trans people being exploited.
Mallory, have
in
you
this
been
game
reading
or whatever.
Kotaku again?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This was just the only thing that I knew about this game, and I was not a controversy that I was particularly like interested in or did a bunch of research into, because it also just was not like. I'm not a huge gamer, if you can't tell. I'm sorry to the game fans out there.
The
But,
Deltarune
like,
fans are going to be able to tell when I discover all
Yeah.
the details that you missed in episodes 1 and
that's
2
that's
of Deltarune.
actually really upsettingly gonna be true. Is that yeah. But yeah, I think like I did my due diligence. I did my research. I feel like it's like, like I don't.
So the
like
controversy,
looking at the
right, was that it
image.
was like
yeah,
a
yeah.
very
Explain.
very negative portrayal of like a trans person, or of like a, would the term be like not true trans person? Would it be like a hermaphrodite? Is that like the
Modified.
idea? Yeah.
I mean, woman
The
with a penis,
advertisement
I guess
is
that's the only thing I can think to call
fetishizing
it.
a trans. Sorry, repeat that.
The only thing I can think to call it is a woman with a penis, because I don't know what it's supposed to depict other than that. But yeah,
Right. The idea being, if I remember correctly, the poster. I've seen the poster before because I
Yeah.
played Cyberpunk at release. I think it's maybe out of the game now. I don't remember.
Oh damn.
It might be. I mean, it's an art asset. It's
lost
like a
her.
poster asset. It's easy to replace. But
Think about what we
her.
lost.
Consider what was lost in the pursuit of greater equality or what have you, or tolerance.
Yeah. Are you happy, Wokies?
I will say this. Is it a negative portrayal of trans people? Probably. Is it meant to be a positive portrayal? I don't know. We've been talking a lot about the anti-capitalist ideas in this genre, this game, what have you. I would say that most of the advertisements are like gross and weird and scandalous. I don't know, like they take advantage of like bodily autonomy, or they are very cavalier with like depictions of sex and violence or what have you. Like I think there's like an antidepressant ad that has a guy with a gun in his mouth. Like it, I would say the nice way to look at it in terms of like giving CD Projekt Red the benefit of the doubt, or the artist who made that art asset, is like, this is supposed to be bad. Like, this is supposed to be a bad portrayal of the subject that it's depicting, because it's like the company behind this fake advertisement is being cavalier about sexual identity, or is monetizing it to bad ends. So I don't know if people are upset at the game versus people should be upset at the world the game is portraying. It gets a little complicated.
Right.
It's not my place to say what people can and can't be upset about.
And
Cyberpunk has a trans character who I think is cool, and that character's identity is not wrapped up entirely in their trans identity. They're just a cool character floating around. So I would say that, like, I know that a lot of times, like, the opinion of, is the only depiction of transness in this game exploitation? That's probably not very fair to this population. I think in this case that's not the case, but again, it's not really my place to tell people how they should feel about something.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting back into that, like, thing of, like, is me creating this, like, dark parody of this thing going to inspire a bunch of people to be like I wonder about,
should someone be looking at the advertisements of Cyberpunk and being like, yeah,
because it's like
awesome.
Exploitative, right?
Right.
But it's exploitative, and, like, looking at it through that lens, and especially with the context of, like, the guy with the gun in his mouth for the antidepressant ad.
It's a crazy ad. You just kind of see, there's just, like, shit like that in the corner of your eye whenever you're walking around in Cyberpunk. It's it's a certain aesthetic for sure.
Yeah, and, like, hearing about that definitely, like, tipped me off to, like, okay, I understand the context in which they're making this image, but yeah, it's like, it's unfortunate that we have the, like, wider societal context of, like, the type of people I imagine playing Cyberpunk are also, like, the Venn diagram of, like, people who would probably, like, heavily fetishize, like, trans women, like, you know, the little close, little circular,
a little too close for comfort, I imagine.
Yeah, like, obviously not everyone who's playing Cyberpunk, that's, like, a pretty wide group of people, but, like, the fetishizer type people, seems like a lot of them would be gravitating towards it. So it's like, you know, it's not an image I like to look at, but I can understand the, like, logic of how it was put in. I also have to say, because I did do research on, like, the controversy, and, like, there's a specific, like, the art director, I guess, who, like, created the asset and, like, chose to put it in, and her thoughts on it. Like, she did say pretty much everything we're saying. Like, it's supposed to be exploitative and, like, uncomfortable and that kind of thing. Equal opportunity exploitative.
Yes. Yay. I interpreted art correctly.
Yeah, but she does also say in the interview, like, she basically, like, comes out as queer, like, in the interview, but she's just being like, she's going like, I actually find her attractive. And then it's like, after another question, she's like, yeah, I find her, like, really sexy. Like, I think she's really, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Wow. good. This is kind of like,
good job. Okay.
You find, thank you. I'm so flattered that you could find my people sexy. But yeah, no, it's just like, not amazing, but yeah, I think that the, like, character, which, if you remember her name, I do not, from the game, seems cool. I like everything about the description of what I read of her, and, like, her represent, like,
she drives car well. I don't really remember too much else. It's been a minute since I played Cyberpunk.
It seems like her transness is, like, pretty incidental, and that she's just, like, a cool character, which it's cool to have a charter like that, and definitely, like,
if it's the character I'm thinking about, like, which I think it is, her main deal is drag racing. Hey, that's maybe there was something there. I was gonna say completely removed, but maybe not. I think it's it's good that, like, my first thought with that character is not, oh yeah, that's the trans Cyberpunk character. It's like, oh yeah, that's the street racer. You know, I think that is inherently a positive inclusion, in the sense that it's like, let's have trans characters that are more than just their trans identity, right? Like, I think that's something that people have been wanting for a long, long time when it comes to, like, gay characters, and we're only at the very forefront of that with video games, where it's like, this is it's still a rarity to have a trans character in a video game, especially like a massive video game like a Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like the specifically the genre of these like huge budget, like is it AAA video games?
Yeah, AAA is kind of that term is kind of like lost any meaning, but yes, I mean it's like hundreds of millions of dollars costing video game, right?
Yeah.
5 years in development from the people who made The Witcher 3, like big deal game that doesn't come around every year, game that comes around every like 2 or 3 years. I would say Cyberpunk was one of those games, for better or worse, and for a long time it was worse. That game had a lot of controversies beyond the ads in the game.
Yeah,
like the fact that it didn't fucking work.
That's the other thing that I've heard about it, is that it's like one of those games that they released and then finished like years later, and then all of a sudden there's like
maybe
a way
the
for
most
people being
famous version of that. Yeah.
Just being like, guys, come back. It's like you've already bought the CD, like just put it in your Xbox, it works, it's great.
I bought it at launch. I played most of it. Pretty good. I've played it again since. Still need to play the DLC.
It was
Idris
good at
Elba.
launch to you, or do you...
Well, yes, it was actually, but I got very lucky in a weird way because I was playing it on an Xbox Series X, and for whatever reason, that was the most stable build of the game, because PC has so much variety to it in terms of like what rig are you running, what graphics cards, what producer of what card, like that whole, what drivers, like there's so many more variables of PC that I think generally PC games launch a little wobbly and then have a better long-term experience as people can like fine-tune things and mod it and whatnot.
Right.
On console, for whatever reason, the Series X version ran better than the PS5 version. The PlayStation version famously ran so badly that Sony pulled it from their stores, which was kind of a baller move to be like, listen, you have put out a product that is broken, and you should not be selling it to people.
Dang.
It was about as bad of a launch as you can have for a video game. I mean, it was like a No Man's Sky kind of scenario. I will say, I played it at launch. It was really buggy. There's a lot of problems with the game, but I had a good time, and it's gotten a lot better since then. I haven't played. They did a complete like revamping of like the combat system and the driving and whatnot. I have not played it since that happened, but I want to because I liked the shitty version of it already. So I'd like to go see the like nicer version with all the RPG stuff tweaked a bit.
It's crazy that Keanu Reeves is in it. That was the most
He's in it a
surprising
lot.
thing that I learned. I did not know that he was like,
Wake Up
part
Samurai.
Which means, to me, it's like, now if they put Rina Sawayama in the sequel, like now we're talking. Did you know that she designed a Spider-Man costume for like one of the Spider-Man video games? And I was like, I gotta play that. I
did know that.
Obviously.
I believe that costume is in Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. I think I read that somewhere.
Wow. And people want to complain about them abusing their animators. Come on. They put Rina Sawayama as Spider-Man in it.
Okay, well, maybe we can still complain about that too, The third movie was supposed to come out over a year ago. That seemed like a pretty quick turnaround at the time. And now it's like, who knows?
Yeah. Dang. Well, this isn't about
Spider-Man. It's an S. What's Cyberpunk? It's a C. No. Mallory, I pitched it. You rank it. It's the ranking corner. Yay!
So I've noticed that there's too many things in deluxe, and that if I put another thing,
what do you want
deluxe,
from me?
Yeah. If I keep putting stuff in deluxe, people are gonna be like, Mallory's soft. She gives deluxe to everything. Her rating system doesn't mean anything. So I'm gonna be a little bit harsher on Cyberpunk, and I'm gonna put it in deluxe again because it's a good show. It is animated well.
It's a good show,
and I like the characters. It's cool. And I feel like, maybe throw me some like a little bit worse stuff so that I can like gain a little bit more
garbage
street cred around here.
All right.
Yeah, because it's just.
Mallory, the one time I tried to show you something that meant a lot to me, it was like near and dear to my heart. I think it's like the lowest rated thing you have, so we're never gonna get over that.
That's not true.
Trust you.
Amelia Perez is a tier below. It's a tier.
Ooh, yeah. I could pitch you some more Amelia Perez's.
Yeah, we can get some more like we can become one of those like bargain bin movie podcasts or whatever.
There you go. We're watching Paul Blart 2, and we're discussing a minute of it at a time for 6 years.
Yeah, a minute of Paul Blart each week. No, I mean this is pretty good.
Pretty good. It's deluxe, some would say.
Yeah. It's pretty deluxe. What is that joke? Deluxe, comfortable, communist, future communist. You know what I'm talking about?
You and I just have different memes. Any meme, any like viral thing I reference, you don't get. Anything you reference, I don't get. We're just in whole different areas of the internet.
I don't think I got a single word of that right, and anyone.
Okay, well that would make it a little hard for me to understand and like pull it.
I feel like all the cool like lefty anarchist people are gonna be like ostracize me for how terrible it was. It's something about like.
Are we going to be in the next FD signifier video,
communism.
but not in the way you want to be? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I think FD signifier is above that meme because it's.
Can I be his awkward white friend like John Eyepatch Wolf?
Yeah. No, I mean. Anyway, let's move on from this topic because we. Of like me explaining this meme further is just like gonna go so badly because I'm not gonna stop and look up what it is. So as always on the Nobody Leaves podcast, it's time for me to pitch you something and make you watch something this week because it's time for me to exercise a little control. And I know we've been talking about Deltarune a lot, but you know. We still got a week out, and there's something even more pressing on our minds, on the people's minds, what the culture is talking about. We gotta go back to another Netflix anime. I think the first one, perhaps the best one, we gotta go Beastars. It's time for furries. It's time for animals. It's time for people being like, oh, what? I like this rabbit? It's time.
The feelings and furry. You know, you said the first Netflix anime, and the thing that popped in my head immediately was that weird Jaden Smith thing with the Toblerone bars. Do you remember what I'm talking about? New Yokio? Was that what it was called?
I have never spoken to another person about Neo Yokio. I've watched all of it because Ezra Koenig directed it. The lead singer of Vampire Weekend directed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Was
he
like
his original show,
17
and he got
at the
Jaden
time?
Smith on it. You know, the jury's still he's like 40 and has a child, and like the jury's still out on whether he's actually 17 this whole time.
I see.
Yeah, that's definitely. Hey,
I hope that's not on the list for a future episode.
Not to spoil future episodes, but I gotta.
Beastars, I hear great things about, and I've been meaning to watch, so this will be fun.
Yes. No,
you've been threatening to pitch this for like months, so it's time.
Yeah. We're done with the false promises. We're doing it. We're getting into Beastars because we got a few seasons to go through. But yeah, season 1 for now is what I want to cover next week.
Woo! It's time to hang out with Judy Hopps, I guess. I don't know. It's high school, right? Let's go put on a play and have a school festival. Yeah, have a culture festival, and let's have a track day, and and let's hang out with Legoshi. Is that his name?
Yes, the true icon is Legoshi. I love him so much.
Okay. I'm ready.
But until then, I'm gonna let you go. Have a good night, Sam.
I thought we were limiting the puns to like one an episode. Like
they're spreading. Spreading.
One transition's maybe enough, you know.
Shout out to my one fan in the comments who said that they like my puns. This is for you.
I'm gonna stop her.